Welcome to Clever Conversations. This is a chance for us to meet indie artists, authors, creators of all kinds, and we hope you enjoy this ride with us. Let's get into the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Clever Conversations. I'm your host, Bree, and I'm here today with an incredible woman who is a TEDx speaker, an international speaker. She is the founder of What She Said, the leader of what do I call them? The bad bitches?
A posse of bad bitches.
A posse of bad bitches. Vandana, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, I'm delighted. I'm so excited about this interview. So
I'm excited to have you because we chat a lot. So people that don't know, I get to see Vandana all over the place and we chat and we have great conversations. I'm actually going to be doing a mastermind with you in a couple of days to talk a little bit about podcasting, one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
But you have so much going on. You've got international travel coming up and you have a book coming up.
Mm-hmm.
You have all these things going on. Tell the audience a little bit about what you do and how you get to do all these amazing things.
Yeah, oh my God, I'd be delighted. And I love every moment of my experience. So not always good experience, but still I love it. Serves a purpose. And so I'm a marketer and strategist by profession. And I love doing that for 25 years. And eventually I got bored because I was seeing the same problems over and over again. So did the corporate freelance, consulting thing. And then because of that and the incredible human capacity to brilliantly solve the wrong problems, I thought, you know what, I'm on a quest to change that. We got to stop doing that. We got to be better thinkers, smarter decision makers, swifter decision makers. Sorry, I'm catching my breath a little bit because of.
No, you're fine. We are women and we are busy and we do a lot of things. And grab some water, do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
But
thank you. But I've created a success model that is sort of everlasting and self-perpetuating. I got asked to be part of an anthology, which went on to become a Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestseller, spoken in high-level academic institutions, as well as TEDx, and got invited to speak to Iceland as well, in Iceland. And I was working on about 5 books at the time, and then I got diagnosed with breast cancer. And then after that was a real shocker because nobody in our family has any kind of cancer. The difference between a couple of us that do is of having cancer at all is that we grew up in North America. So very interesting. But went through that whole process and I'm still going through it. But in the middle of it all, I was starting to lose my ability to breathe, in addition to losing my hair, losing tons of weight. And I ended up in the hospital with an infection because I was immunocompromised. And that actually, they cured the infection, but I got worse. And super, super worse, to the point where I ended up in a coma. And when I say coma, Brie, I mean, I was, how do I describe it? I was intubated. I was on a ventilator. My hands were tied to the railings. My feet were bandaged. My eyes were taped shut. I was paralyzed. I had like 10 IVs from my neck going all the way down. I mean, it was pretty severe. And I was like that for 2 weeks. And then I came out and went through rehab. And 3 days after I got out of the hospital, which was 2 months, I did my TEDx talk. And then everything started. And I will tell you, I don't like saying this because I'm afraid that my family will hear me, but I had the best coma ever.
Oh my God.
So, but
that's amazing.
Quite a ride. Yeah.
Yeah. We've both had, we've both had medical things.
I know. And I know you can relate. So
I can relate and I can, and I can't imagine having all of that, going through all of that for such a long period of time. I mean, I went through my own health condition with open heart surgery and I wake up and I've got all these tubes and all these things. And but it wasn't like I was back on my feet that same day. Like, so it wasn't,
wow.
yeah, I was dancing that night.
What?
Excuse me. Yeah, it was crazy. After they got all the tubes and all the things, and I kept going back and forth in my brain of, I have all this fluid, because when you have all these tubes in you, you get all this
Yes.
fluid. No, it's my turn to cough like crazy. And I kept thinking I'm drowning, right? Like I can't breathe. But then my brain would be like, yo, stupid, you got breathing tubes in. Fine. I would go back to panic mode. I got back and forth in this like medicated, crazy, like, but they're like, oh, don't worry about it. You won't remember it. I do. I remember all of it. So I don't know what they were thinking. I remember all of it, but I kept remembering to tell myself, like whoever was in my brain at that time kept saying, you have a breathing tube in. You can breathe.
You can breathe. Yeah.
It didn't feel like it. And I couldn't move. So completely paralyzed. I know what that feeling is like. It is the craziest feeling in the world.
Weird. Yeah.
And it is petrifying because you can't commute there. You can hear them saying things, but you absolutely can't. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't even move my finger. I think I finally got like a little, like just this little movement in my finger. I think that's how I like alerted them. And they were like, oh, she's coming out of it. And I'm like, I've been out of it. What do you, I'm like, I'm not out of it. I'm coming too. Like I've been doing this for a while. Like glad you're finally paying attention, but you can't. So it's terrifying. It's a crazy experience. And it really does change perspective. It changes the fierceness in which you attack life. If that's a great way, for me, that's a good way to put it. It changes my fierceness. I feel like I've been through something so hard and difficult and came through fighting and fierce and ready to live every moment and do everything and not take no and move myself and not accept the limitations that other people put on me because I got through. And yes, I danced that night. It wasn't a great dance. It's nothing that's no flash dance moves going on. And if you're old enough like me, you'd know that movie. But but they wanted me to get up. They're like, get up, you have to get out of bed, you have to stand. And I stood and I actually did a little dance for them. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be okay. Like, I'm not gonna let this get me down.
You're so right. So right.
That? Okay, good. Because I was like, is that how it felt for you?
Yeah. But you know what? The way I look at it is as crazy as it all was and continues to be, because my lungs were shot as well. I couldn't, like, they were almost, what is it called? I want to say inoperable, but that's not, they weren't operating very well. So mine was, it was just a very touch and go situation. But I kind of saw it when I came out. It's like, oh my God, I had to get on the other side of history so I can do all the stuff now. Like, not as if I wasn't doing stuff before,
Right.
And a lot of stories came flooding back to the forefront in my mind, and one of them was a story about my kids. So my two older kids, he was 6, she was 7 at the time. He was having behavioral issues. It's always the guys having behavioral issues. And so we talked to his teacher, and his teacher said, well, yeah, he's testing at a high school level for math and university level for reading comprehension. And we were like, huh, that's interesting, because our daughter was exactly the same. So we didn't think anything of it. We never compared our kids, but we just thought, okay, this is just normal because they're both doing the same thing. And then we had them tested, and the psychologist comes back and he says, I can count on one hand kids as bright as yours.
Wow.
And that kind of floored us. And the next 2 questions were the ones that I think are so telling. First question he asks is, what are you going to do for your son? Said, now we have this piece of paper that, guarantees him some access to special, programs in the school board. So we're going to fast track him to that. And then he said, what are you going to do for your son? Your daughter, question 2, right? And I said, well, she's like walking happiness. She creates happiness wherever she goes. She smiles all the time, tons of friends, doing really well in school. So why try to fix something that ain't broke?
Right.
And that's when he said to us, that's exactly why you need to push for her. because this is what happens to girls and women all the time. And it was like, it was one of those hurt so good moments. And it was like, thank God I had somebody to tell me, to lead me in a different direction. And it's amazing to me how many things in life are counterintuitive, but they're actually correct. That's just one example. But that kind of lit a fire under my butt. And that's when I interviewed about 200 women trying to figure out what they really wanted, and launched What She Said. And it's all about lifting women. And it's based on the principles that women want. But the really cool thing is that we divide ourselves into pods or squads. We call them squads of 5 to 7 women. And let's say you join, and you'll have your squad. That squad is responsible for growing your business. So accountability is very different. Accountability, if just you and me, if we don't do whatever we said we're going to do, there's no consequence, right? We just push them to the next week. In this situation, first of all, the scope narrows, which is what you need it to do. Instead of, women will promise like 7 million things, and only be able to do like, 1.5, not million, just 1.5, and then, and then in this way, you get to ask for one thing, not 15,000 things, just one thing. And then that group is responsible for finding ways that they can help you address that one need. And that's how we move forward. So you become it becomes a situation where you're responsible for growing somebody else's business and owning up to them and being accountable to them. So as terrible as it sounds, we're way better at being accountable to other people than we are to ourselves. And so it just becomes like a surround sound, situation where everybody takes turns, and, that's what we do. And
that's incredible.
So, yeah, it's a really cool idea. So,
well, it benefits everyone so much, because not only is there that accountability, but there's that growth that happens when, it's a twofold thing. It's the growth that happens when we learn to lean on others to get help, because I know, at least for me personally, I'd rather just do it myself, because I know you know what I mean? I know how I want to get it done. Or I always tell people, I ask one time, maybe two, and then I just do it myself, because I'm tired of asking and I just need it done. And I can't count on that. And so when you're in this kind of situation and you're giving that accountability to people, you learn that you can lean on others, that we can come together as women and not have to do it all the time.
It's so true. And it's one of the principles that I talked about in my TEDx talk. Solve for the outcome, not the problem. Because if all you do is look at the problem and think, okay, I got to solve this, you become so focused on that you become cognitively rigid, which basically means that any new ideas that come in, you can't focus on at all, because you're so focused on the problem. And guess what? How do you know it's the right problem? Right? How do you know it's a problem? In my case, for example, when I was in ICU, nobody knew what the problem was. It's things that you can't see, right? That's really interesting. It's fascinating and scary all at the same time. But so solving for the outcome versus a problem, that's like, plaster that on your head if you can, or in front of your face. Yeah.
And the other thing, that I always think about, and I wrote an article for a magazine several years ago, and it was on our daughters. And you spoke of your daughter earlier and how she's always smiling. And so this, I think that my daughter was always smiling, but she was always doing things her way. And, you'll hear other moms chatting, oh, she's so stubborn. She always has to do it just the way she wants to do it. And my perspective of now having an adult daughter who's married and all this stuff, and the years of experience, I got all boys, but one girl. And what I learned and what I saw later in life from her, because I didn't mind the stubbornness. I didn't mind the I have to do it my way as long as she did it, right?
Mm-hmm.
As long as she got things done.
Mm-hmm.
There are other ways to do things than just the way I tell her to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
if it's not detrimental to her or harmful to her, I'm going to let her explore that. But what I found later was that stubbornness and that confidence within herself that I had nurtured during those years led her to say no to her friends when they pressured her for things. Let her say no to a guy that she had really, they had been dating and they were a big crush and she really liked this guy, but he didn't treat her the right way. And she said, I won't have that.
Love it.
And walked away from it.
Love it.
So I look at our daughters now and I say to moms, it's okay if she's stubborn. It's okay if she has to do it her way. Nurture it in a way where you're supporting her making her own decisions and trusting in herself that her decision is correct, as long as it's not harmful or anything. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to let her go make dinner where she's like, I'm going to do, something that's like dangerous or whatever. You know what I mean? Like whatever that they're doing when they're young. And then, but it's giving that love and support that gives her the confidence later when you're not there to make those choices, when you're not there to be her guide, when you're not there to, help her up, that she can help herself up, that she's learned failure, has tried things and gotten up and kept trying, that she's allowed to make those decisions and say no to things and not let outside influence change who she is. I think if we raise daughters that way today, it's going to be a different world, and we're going to see.
I love it. Love it.
So that is, that's kind of what I've seen Justin, like I said, I only had one daughter, but that's what I saw in her. And I was like, yeah, it's okay that she's that way.
Yeah, it's totally okay. And I'll tell you, the mind is an amazing, amazing tool. And it's an amazing, I don't know, I want to say secret, but it's not a secret. It's just what we have that I find is not used as much as it should be, and how powerful. I mean, I remember when I came out, it was like, wow. And I'm super positive and super strong, and it's all because of my mindset. And it's also the definition of a mindset, I suppose. But it's a choice, right? And the fact that you allowed her in her younger years to be able to make choices that were good for her and sometimes not, is kudos to you as a parent, because sometimes it's very hard to do. And you always want to save them, right? Or you always want to change them to fit what you think is right. But that's why we have so many issues in the school system right now. Not everybody learns or thinks or adapts or grows the same way in the same rate. And we can't expect that of people. It's like, imagine if school started like, in the afternoon and went for 5 hours. Probably would have a lot of, non-issues at that point, right? So I don't know. I think that we have to stop being rigid and really think outside the box, so to speak. I don't think there is a box, but it's a lot of this is what I talk about. I'm about to launch a book. I just finished writing it, 4 years in the making, and we're doing a launch event for that. So I'll send you guys the link. And for those of you who are interested, it's called, the link is the book of might, MIGHT.com. And you can sign up for the launch party there. It's coming up on June the 12th. Yeah.
I love that. We're going to put that link in the description so you can find it, follow it, get it, buy it. Please go do that. When it comes out in June, that's exciting.
Yeah.
That is so exciting.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about why did you write the book? What was your calling to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get into the process, because I still have a manuscript that I haven't published.
Well, I have probably 10. So it's just, it's so funny. I never thought I'd write a book. I mean, I always thought it was so cool, and I never thought I'd be able to do it, because I don't think I have patience. And I certainly did not want to get involved in the publishing industry. Boy, was this a 180, but I wrote the book primarily because I was seeing so many people not thinking as smart as they could be. And not that I'm some, God's gift to, the intelligence. That's not what it's about at all. It's just the skills that you can use to to change everything. I mean, the book is called Might, Might, right? And it's a double entendre. So might as in the power to solve the impossible and change everything, and might as in possibility. So how might we change this? And knowing where you need to go when nothing seems to work, come here. Start with this stuff. Or if you don't know where to begin, come here. If you really want to be able to change everything, what you have to do, come here. And there's, it's there's several principles in there, and I use like real life cases as well. So it's not just sort of fairy tales. This is stuff that's actually happened. And hopefully it can, because of how interesting it is, it can open your mind to see how differently things are done and how you can too. So it was an amazing experience, but it took me a while because I was sick. And then after getting sick and after coming out of my coma with this amazing experience, because I was like flying everywhere like Superman and, landing in places that I didn't think were possible. And, and it was just a phenomenal experience. And coming out of that, it really, really shifted a lot of thinking for me. And so I almost rewrote it. And so to me, this is like my love. It's just something that I'm really passionate about. And I keep thinking, like, if we were able to just think differently, just shift our mindset, how different the world would be today. It's a crazy world. And I'm not saying
exceptionally crazy world.
Yeah. Right now it's like, what the heck are we doing? Right. So I don't know. I'm just on a quest to see if we can do better. That's all. I just want us as a universe to just think better and make greater decisions. That's all.
I agree. I think that's what we all need to do. My goal is to bring kindness to the world as many times, many ways, and as many places as possible, because I think that's what we need right now. Love. They talk about love and healing, and love is the answer. Make love, not war. All of that stuff. But I do believe that the first step in that is kindness.
Yeah.
I think it's giving grace. It's giving kindness, even to those we disagree with. It's giving kindness to those that maybe wouldn't be our best friends or people we'd work with or whatever it might be, but we can always show kindness. And that is the first step to healing this world and doing the things, I think it's a good segue. I love that we're going to give you more on this book. We're probably going to do a special episode when it comes out, because I want to talk about that more. I think it's really exciting. I just love that. Like, for me, writing a book is like a big deal. I've been wanting to have
it's a big deal.
It's a really big deal. And it's so much of the inner self that goes into it.
Yeah.
And so it's a scary thing. It's a big deal. It's a big thing to do. But what happens and what comes from that can be absolute magic. And I love, the power of the pen and the things that we can do. Our words do matter. Our what we say matters. And the lasting impression it can leave a legacy, a mark on this world, to make it a better place. And my dogs will go crazy in the background all the time. But I want to shift and get into your posse of bad bitches.
Yeah.
Because I love that. First of all, it just speaks to me. So I'll let you share a little on that.
Yeah, I so as I said, I interviewed 200 women. I told you sort of the unique aspect about what we do, but it's I'm not interested in growing, like 2,000 people overnight kind of thing. I'm not about the transactions. I'm 100% about the relationships. And people say that a lot, but I don't see that acted on a lot, because who's going to turn down money when you're a business person, right? But for me, if you grow it with the right people, it completely changes. And there's not just one right person, right? There's multiple right people. And what I find is that, so we just launched in January and we have over 50 women now. And, there's a couple of people that have come and gone, and I love them dearly. I think they're fantastic. I think they're great human beings, but it just wasn't the right time for them, and, they tried and, it wasn't working. So it's one of those things where it's very comfortable in the sense that you whatever happens in the posse stays in the posse. We built it on the three principles I was mentioning, which is honesty. And this is brutal honesty. Okay. This is not like being authentic. Authentic is a given now. I don't know why people still use that word, but it's really about being honest but brutally kind, to your point. So tell me what I need to do, because I want to grow my business or grow my philanthropy or grow my, cooking school or whatever it is. But do it in a way, be brutal, but do it because you care about me and about my growth, and be nice about the critique, because we can find a million people to, go nuts on us. We
Oh,
don't
yeah.
need that, right? The second thing was visibility. So visibility, not just in terms of what you write and say and speak and guest on and all that kind of stuff. It's more about when she walks into a room, she stands in her own light with self-respect and says her piece, and people turn around and say what she said. And that's why we have the name of the group. And the third one was this really, really super tight sisterhood. So, nothing, we have each other's backs. We move together, we grow together. And you can't help but grow because of the way we do it. Like you just can't. So it's almost like it feels like guaranteed growth. It may not happen like, astronomically instantly, but you will grow. At least that. And it's super affordable for everyone. So it's we all know that when women rise, society rises, right? We know that at least I believe that women are the most underutilized resource that the world has. So what are we doing? Why are we not doing this more? Why are we and I'm not gonna bitch about the stats and stuff like that are out there, because quite frankly, a lot of those research reports and stuff that you see about venture funding and all this kind of stuff, they're not being totally honest. They've sort of, altered the data to fit the mold. So I don't like to talk about stats a whole lot, but I can say that if you look at some of the greatest countries in the world, or the countries that are doing the best, they're led by women, you know, and I just think that we're just so powerful. We can be so powerful together, and that's the difference between men and women. A lot of the time is men oftentimes do it individually and they stand in their own right, whereas women, we're a posse, we're a force, and we want to go so much further than we have to date. And further is not necessarily better in terms of distance, but in terms of growth, hugely different. So I want to do everything I can to support women and see them grow. And this is not about lifting just the business. It's also about lifting the woman behind the business, because you want to make sure that you're teaching things and teaching each other things where the innate human being can blossom, really flourish. So just love what we're doing. I mean, it's all new. But I wouldn't trade anything. And I'll tell you something else, and this is sort of applicable to you too, because what you were talking about, people think bad bitch is like, wow, you're going to say bad bitch? It's like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm going to say bad bitch. Because you know what? Bad bitch is the ultimate compliment. People don't even realize that, but if you really think about it, and the reason the reason she's a bad bitch is because she has had life experience. She has lived through something, and it could be really positive too. Like you could have launched a business and exited it, and it's like, wow, that was amazing. But it's also bittersweet, right? Because you miss it. It's like your baby. So for me, this is, it's one of those things where, you have come out on the other side and you're a survivor. And survivor is not the best word, but it's all about this. It's that notion, and I don't know what the right word is. And if the audience
We
has
need
any,
to create that right word. I mean, honestly,
yeah,
what it is when you have gone through the experiences that you've had,
mm-hmm.
and it's going to help form you and shape you and strengthen you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And also expand your mind and your
Yeah.
capabilities
Yeah.
so that, you know, the one, we'll call it the Wonder Woman effect, right?
Yeah.
We've been through this insanity or this craziness or this, you know, tragedy or struggle or pain or even like
It's
getting
growth.
through
It's growth.
growth
Yeah.
and all of those things, or we've done something incredible and amazing and we've accomplished something and we're ready for that
Yeah.
next level and we're moving forward. That is the warrior within us that just increases what we're capable of and where we're headed next,
Yeah.
right? And it just
Absolutely. And it's only positive. You know, you've gotten on the other side of history. Like there's a lot to be said for that, whatever that is, right? And and the fact that you have come out on the other side a better person, more growth, you know, higher learning, maybe simpler living, maybe more, with more kindness, whatever it is, because you made it. You made it,
yeah.
you know? And you have not yet arrived. So because if you have arrived, I mean, somebody asked me that, you know, what made you so successful? Like, what is it, that one turning point, you know, that made you so successful? And my response was, you know what? I would hate to think that I have arrived, because
Exactly.
that's like, because then what do you do after that? It's like there's nothing. But we have not arrived yet.
I've made it through base camp 3. You know, I made it through. I'm not at the peak. I'm not summiting that mountain yet, but I've gotten through the base camp and camp 1, camp 2. I'm on my way. I'm not at the Hillary step maybe or whatever it is,
Yeah.
but I'm getting there, you know, but what I've put behind me, what's in my rear view mirror is the struggles, the accomplishments, the survival, the education, the growth, the
Yes.
discipline,
Yeah.
the expansion of
Yeah.
all things that
Love that
make
word.
me
Expansion's a great word.
is a good. I love that word too.
And
So
it reminds me of just this one quote. And I'll say the quote, and it'll give you goosebumps, because it does me. So I think it'll work for everybody. The person at the top of the mountain, Nort used to say the man at the top of the mountain, but I'll just say the person at the top of the mountain was not placed there.
Yep,
Right. So
that's right. That's right. It's 100%. I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
mhm.
You know, we've come a long way. What I had all these questions written down and I haven't asked you any of them because this is just what happens because this is the way our conversation rolls along and we just enjoy each other's company and having these deep conversations.
Love it.
But I do want to ask this last one before we run out of time. And that is, what would you like to see in the next year?
For me, or in general?
In general, for women, for the women of your group, the ones that are in your, you know, vision.
Yeah.
What would you like to see in the next year?
So I feed off of 3 words. The 3 words to me are curiosity, deliberateness, and wit. And I want to see that infused in everything that I do. And I hope that will rub off onto others. And I want to see what she said grow dramatically, grow in the right way. And I want us to start being considered a force. It's as simple as that. And, you know, maybe it'll start off like a tiny force, but it'll snowball from there. I want to create something so great for women that people are going to be like, you know what, you got to, you know, they're going to come back and bring a friend. It's kind of like Disney, you know. If women can advocate for each other and bring more people into this group and see it grow, it's not about me, you know, because so much of what's happening in the group is our ideas suggested by other people and they're running with it. And how amazing is that, right? You can
As it
suggest
should be, yeah.
and you can actually do it. And you've got 50 women supporting you, you know, 50 plus. So why would you not do
That
this?
is a posse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good.
That
And
feels good to have that strength, have that surround you, whether they're standing physically right next to you or metaphorically, they
yeah,
stand with you and stand
stand
next to
with me.
you.
Yeah.
It's just, you cannot fail. Even
That's right.
if what you're achieving doesn't come to fruition right away and you make mistakes, you can't fail because you have those women with you
Yeah.
that will lift you and help you rise and keep going.
Yeah.
And it is a momentum that lifts you as you move. And that is the force I think that we really need to see right now in this world
Yeah.
today, right now,
Yes.
with the insanity that's happening. And I'm not just saying the United States or whatever, but like everywhere and all
Hmm.
of these things,
Hmm.
we as women can fix it.
Well, that's what we are, right? We typically are the fixers.
Mhm.
And I read a lot of billionaire
Clean up
mafia.
your mess.
Yeah. I read a lot of billionaire mafia romance, by the way. So
Mhm.
it's like we're the right hand person, that those are usually the right hand men, usually, that go and fix things. So we're like, we're like that structure. But I want us to be in a situation where we are really leading and
Yep.
really thought leaders. And um, it's not enough to think. I used to think, oh, I just love to learn and learn and learn, and the day that I stop learning will be the death of me. And then I thought to myself, what the heck am I doing? Like, it's not good enough to just learn. You got to do something about it. So I used to tell my kids, this is not what you know, it's what you do with what you know. And so I did this post on LinkedIn, and it talks about the fact that intention is a beautiful thing, but intention without action is nothing. But action, if it's not in the right direction, is dangerous. But if you have intention with action in the right direction, then you have acceleration. It's very mathematical. It's so, so simple. And I want us to find the simplicity in things and soar. It's just, that's what I want it to be.
I think that's a beautiful place to end it. I love that. I want to remind people thebookofmight.com. We'll have the link below. Go check out. I'm going to put social media links below. Get involved, step up to the plate, make the changes, find your posse, come join what we are doing, what the world needs to do right now. Wanda, thank you so much for being here today. Any parting words?
I have a little gift for you,
Oh,
for your listeners.
well, I love that. And listeners
Yeah,
love that too. We love
I
that.
know. I thought you would. But what I have is, um, so Might is the first in a series of 4 books, and they're all very purposeful, as to why they are going to exist. But I am looking for crazy, absurd, counterintuitive ideas, things that should not have happened, but they did, like, the story of chocolate and peanut butter, like that kind of stuff that turned out to be amazing. And I would like to invite anybody who would enjoy this to apply to be mentioned in the book with their idea. So they can be part of the book.
I love that. All
Yeah.
right, we'll have all that information for you. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us today. We will see you again next time. Bye, everybody.